Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be having a look at all of Grimm's amazing strategies, and we're going to break them down for you step by step so that you can better understand how to spawn a great one. If you have never heard of Grimm, definitely head over to Twitch and give Grimm_DV a follow. To date, this gentleman has put 5 great ones in his lodge on Xbox, and he is an amazing guy. He is more than willing to help everyone in the community with all of his amazing methods. So today we're gonna have a very good look at how he has been doing this step by step. If you do enjoy the video, guys, make sure to smash that like button. If you'd like to join us for more, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to click the notify bell so you never miss another video. We are definitely gonna head right into it. And if you do have questions as we go through the video, guys, definitely leave them in the comments for me or for Grimm. He will definitely be over here answering questions. He is such a helpful guy. So with Grimm's permission, I will be re-explaining everything that he does for his Great One grind, everything that he has learned and figured out over the last few months that has made it possible for him to put 5 Great Ones as of last week into his lodge. And I saw 2 of them live on Twitch. I saw him shoot them live. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Now, I want to just address one thing before we head into the video, guys, and that is this. I know that there are definitely more great ones surfacing in the community right now, and I would just like to say that that is amazing. I just love hearing the joy and excitement in people's voices when they make that dream a reality. And yes, maybe the great one isn't that super elusive thing that it used to be, but you know what? I think that it is actually fixed now and not broken. See, now we have a new map with Mexico with thousands of new people who are now grinding for whitetail that weren't before Mexico was released. Not only that, but the whitetail are fixed now in that when you do spawn a great one, it should not, when you leave the map, bug out and turn into a level 4 or 5 whitetail. And now we have Grimm's amazing method to be able to do this in a more efficient manner, and that is resulting in a surge of great ones in the community. Now, I am trying to make this happen for myself. Unfortunately, I'm a little late to the races. I'm starting my grind a little late in order to bring you guys these videos, but that's all right. So I am doing the grind all week live on my YouTube channel, so come on out and cheer for me. I am sure hoping to make this happen. Let's head into it. So first things first, Grimm says the very first thing that you should do is turn off your Hunt Club beta. Now, I've had a lot of people ask me why this is necessary. So Grimm finds, and I've had a lot of people tell me it's been helping them quite a bit, when you turn off your Hunt Club beta, your game should be less buggy, you should get better spawns, and you should find more zones. Your game is just gonna run more smoothly. It hasn't been giving us any benefit lately, and you do need to turn it back on just to allow other friends into your lodge. That's the only reason you need to turn it on. So go ahead and turn that off and see if it positively affects your game. I have definitely turned mine off. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is find your zones. Now, this information should work for both Layton and for Mexico, but I will try to differentiate when the information seems to be different for different reserves. So you'll want to find your zones right away. I know in Layton you should have at least 40 drink zones. In Mexico, I have found about 35. So a similar amount. I think I have all my zones, but I'm not sure. Now, once you find all your zones, then you want to pick 8 to 10 zones that you're going to be doing your grind with, your main farming zones. These are zones that are going to be very easily accessible. You want your grind to be as fast as possible. You want to get as many bucks down as fast as you can to expedite the entire process. And as you're going from tent to tent, you want to be shooting your 2 largest bucks. Now, Grimm only shoots 2. He finds that the game runs smoother this way. The game can only process so much, and that's what he's been doing, and that has been working for him. Now, he says this is best, especially for Xbox. You may be able to take 3 on PC, but he's not on PC, so he couldn't say. So for right now, I am just going to be doing my grind, killing 2. Now, I have had quite a few people ask me if they could just find their first 10 zones and start farming for the Great One. And the answer to this is you can, but it isn't going to work for you. The reason that you need to find all of your zones, and you need to listen to this closely because you need to wrap your brain around it to understand it. So every time you kill any buck, any doe, anything off your map, it goes up into, imagine, a spawn pool. Now, everything goes into the spawn pool to be randomly distributed back to where you have killed bucks or killed anything at all. It's going to be respawned. But when you have not found all of your zones, all of the animals that belong in those zones that have not been discovered, they are still living in that spawn pool. So when you kill any whitetail, it's going to go up into the spawn pool with the other zones, with the other spawns that are going to go into these new zones, and your great one could spawn into a zone you have not discovered. So the only way to be sure that your great one and your spawns end up in your main zones where you're going to find them is to discover all your zones. It is so important. You have to find all your zones. And that is the hard part because they're hard to find, especially in LAYTON. Oh my goodness. Now I do have a video on techniques for finding all of your whitetail zones. I will put the link below the video and on the screen here. That should help you, but you need to check every single water source. Every dot of water in LAYTON can have whitetail drinking there. There is a lot of time and effort that needs to be put into your map to set up for the grind. You need to find all your zones. You need to be able to access them with tents. Now you can only put 16 tents on a map. That's it. You can put more tripods than that. I think it's double that, but I'm not 100% sure. But I have never run into the issue of being told I have too many tripods on my map. So you should be fine with that. Now, just a quick tip for me, guys. When you're buying tents and tripods, make sure you buy the same color variation because they stack. When you have different ones, they take up twice the amount of space in your inventory when you put them on your character to carry them out, so you want to have the same variation so they stack. Carrying around 10 Arctic tripods compared to one weigh the same thing, so definitely you want the same ones. Now guys, if you are on console, the unfortunate delay of Mexico coming to console might be good news for you. It is giving you more time to do your grind on LAYTON. And right now is a really great time to stack up on cash. Spend some time killing all kinds of things off your map and stacking your cash because you are going to need it for tents and tripods. Maxing out your tents at 16 and only putting 16 tripods down will cost you 512,000 in-game dollars, and you are going to need more than 16 tripods, most likely. So grind for cash now. Now, when you are going around and searching for your zones, Grim advises to not shoot anything. This is your time to just find your zones. If it is too tempting for you, leave your weapon behind. You just want to find your zones. You're looking for zones that are really easily accessible, and you're looking for diamond potential or rare whitetail. This is the first step. Now, a really good tip that will let you know that you have not found all of your zones is if you are only killing bucks out of your main zones and you do get a doe respawning, that is an indicator that you have zones you still need to find. Because a buck will respawn as a buck and a doe will respawn as a doe. So setting up your Great One grind is a very time-consuming venture. It does take a very long time to search your entire map. You basically have to check every single water source on the map for whitetail, and that takes a long time. Now, I have had several people ask me if you can spawn a Great One in multiplayer, and that is a really great question. Now, what Grim says about this is it is possible, and actually Kinsko did have a friend on his map when he did manage to get his Great One, so it is possible, but what happens when you do it in multiplayer is your game is going to be more buggy. Grim finds that in multiplayer, even when I came onto his Xbox map to do the interview, he had less zones, some of his zones can disappear, and he has worse spawns. You're just going to have a little bit of a buggier game because every person that comes on your map brings their own bugs with them. So that is the only issue. So Grim sets up for all of his main zones, plus he sets up for every zone that he has. He wants to be able to access all of his zones because the zones that he doesn't use, the ones that are not in his main 8 to 10 zones, those are what he calls his backup zones. And they are ready to go at any time if he does accidentally kill a zone or it vanishes. He can just jump to one of his backup zones and keep on farming. Now let's talk about the spawn bug. So what happened to me was I did the Great One grind back in the winter, started in January, and I stopped at the end of March because I no longer got any bucks coming into my zones. They stopped spawning. Now, a spawn bug came out around that time. It is still in LAYTON. I'm not sure what's going on with PC. I think it is fixed, but we do still have that problem with console. So Grim has a workaround for this spawn bug that has been absolutely working for him. And what he calls it is activating your zones. So once Grim starts his grind for the day, he gets onto his map, he jumps around 2 different zones, he runs and checks his whitetail. If they're not there, he heads to the next spot and checks, then he goes back and checks again. Activating is just quickly running around to certain spots on your map and checking for your whitetail. Just being in the area will encourage those whitetail to spawn to come in. We just have to be patient, but you do want to travel around very quickly and check your zones to get them coming in. Now, you don't want to activate all of your spots because the game can only handle so much. Just do it in a certain area to start with, and your spawns should start coming in after that, but it is a very quick process. So this is his workaround for the spawn bug, is activating his zones. Now, if for some reason you do manage to get your herd down to 1 deer, that zone is no longer going to get any more respawns. That zone is going to die. So you can just ignore it, or you can kill it off and you will get a new zone in the area, but you want to try not to get your zones down to 1 deer. Now, I know that is a very true case for console. I'm really not 100% sure for PC if it is fixed or not right now at this point. I'm just not sure. So you want to maybe not do it on PC as well, just to be safe. Now, some people aren't a big fan of only killing 2 deer, but try to look at it this way. When you kill only 2 deer, kind of imagine that those deer go into a funnel and they just respawn more smoothly when you only kill 2 compared to 3. The spawn bug seems to get them gummed up in this funnel, so killing 2 is just a smarter thing right now. So you'll want to run around on foot, don't use a 4-wheeler, and look for all of your zones. This is going to be a very time-consuming process. It can take you literally days to do, and you will have to constantly be looking for new zones throughout this whole process. It is not just running around and killing bucks. That is just the fun part. So once you have all your zones discovered, you want to have a look at your zones and choose 8 to 10 zones that are so easily accessible. You want this to be as fast as you possibly can. You want to get through as many deer as you can in the shortest amount of time as possible. That is going to yield you the fastest results for sure. So 8 to 10 zones is absolutely brilliant. What that does is it makes the whole process much faster. You're going to spawn diamonds faster. You're going to spawn a great one faster. But you do absolutely 100% have to have all of your zones discovered for this to work. I cannot drive that point home hard enough. It is so important. So if you are only shooting bucks and you notice a doe has respawned, you have to get out and look for more zones. That is an indicator that you do have more zones to discover. So as you're out searching for your zones, you want to be looking for diamonds because level 3 diamonds have the highest chance of spawning a great one, but we now know that you do not have to have a diamond to spawn a great one. Because we have had more great ones popping up in the community, we have now learned that great ones do spawn more often from a level 3 diamond, but they don't have to have a level 3 diamond to spawn a great one. Scarecrow's great one was spawned from a max estimate level 2 buck, so they can spawn that way as well. So once you do have all your zones discovered and you're all set up to farm your 8 to 10 zones, you want to set up as many zones as you can so that if you do have a zone die, you can go to your backup zones. Then you want to go around and you want to kill your 2 largest bucks from each herd. You want to jump around after you've activated the zones. If they aren't coming in, just be patient, keep jumping around and checking for them. They will come in eventually. Now, Grim likes to choose his zones that are over lakes, ponds, and open rivers. You want to be able to see the deer easily. So he goes around, he wants to be able to get to all of his 8 to 10 zones in one time rotation. One in Layton, one time rotation. So from between 12:29 and to 3 or 3:30, as long as he does still have bucks in his zones. He wants to be able to get through all of those. Then what Grim does is he goes to a tent and he does only one time reset for $188, and he just continues on. He does not get out of his game. You do not need to get out of your game every single time you reset the time. Now, I believe the only time Grim does turn his game off is when he has killed a zone. You do need to turn your game off and on for that new zone to respawn as a new zone on your map. And he does this about every 1,000 kills when he just feels like nothing is happening on his map like he is on a cold slot machine. He uses the analogy of a slot machine, and it's really fascinating to hear him talk about this. Almost every time, actually, not every time, but I think 4 out of the 5 times that he has had that great one pop up on his map, he was on what he likes to call a heater. And he likes to use the slot machine analogy. And every time you turn your game off and on, he compares it to getting up and getting onto a different slot machine. It might be hot, it might be cold, but you don't want to turn your game off when your game is hot, when you are getting diamonds and rares, big bucks more often, when things are going well in your grind. If you do have to get off of your game to go to work, go to bed, live your life, do not turn your game off if that is possible. You're going to be way more likely to spawn a great one when your game is hot, but it is not 100% necessary. This we are learning. So Grim likes to turn the time back to 12:29. He finds that this gives him the best weather conditions in Layton. Now previously, when I was doing the Great One grind in Layton, we thought that maybe shooting does would help with the spawn bug, but this actually is not the case, so you do not need to shoot does. So diamonds and great ones are RNG, random number generated. It is just luck, but the more bucks that you can kill, the more animals, the more whitetail that you grind, the faster that you do it, the higher the chances are, and the faster of you spawning a great one. Now, another really smart thing that Grim advises, especially for those of you on console, because of the bug that does cause great ones to turn into bugged out great ones when you leave your map, he does advise before you do, put your gun away and just run around to all of your zones that you have been farming and just check the respawns before you leave your map. That is such good advice. I don't think it's an easy thing to do, and it is going to take you a little bit more time, but it is going to ensure that all of the hard work that you are putting into this will not be wasted. Now let's talk about what to do when you do encounter a very large herd of whitetail. Now Grim says you need to treat this differently. Now I do have a video with Grim talking about dealing with large herds. I am going to put the link below the video and on the screen here, but what Grim says to do is if your herd is all together, you have a large herd, you want to kill 2. You want to keep going back to that zone and continually picking the bucks off, because large zones do not stay large zones. They will not get all those bucks respawning into them. What will happen is those bucks will slowly start to respawn into your main at 8 to 10 zones. So you do need to treat them differently. Now you can have more than one herd drinking from one drink zone. And if you have, say, one drink zone and a herd on the right and a herd on the left, as long as you're in a tripod, you are just fine to take 2 from each herd, even though they are using the same zone. But make sure you're in a tripod, because otherwise you will kill the zone. Now guys, if you can only afford to put tents down and you don't have enough cash to put tripods down, you can do this grind without tripods. By only killing 2, you are fine to do it without tripods, and you will, by only changing the time once, definitely gain cash as you go through and grind, and you will be able to add tripods on the go throughout your grind. So Grim does have a method for moving his population around so that you have your herds only bucks. Nothing but bucks is what he likes to say, and I am going to share that with you in a separate video because it is a pretty in-depth process, and I would like to actually show you on the map. So that will be in an upcoming video very, very soon. So I have had a lot of people ask me to make this video to absolutely go through and explain everything that Grim does. I really hope that this has helped, guys. If you do have more questions, please let me or Grim know in the comments. We are only here to help. We want to help you guys get that great one, spawn that great one onto your map. I know it is still a huge amount of work, guys. It is not an easy thing to do. So I do wish you the best of luck. I am trying to implement all of Grim's amazing strategies into my grind. So if you do have time, come by and cheer me on while I do the Great One grind live in Mexico. And that is going to wrap it up for this video. And I would just like to publicly thank Grim_DV on Twitch. Definitely head over there and give this amazing guy a follow. He has shared so much amazing information with us. He is such a giving guy, and I would highly recommend that you go and watch him do the Great One grind live on Twitch. I promise you this guy is going to put more great ones in his lodge. He is something to watch. He is pretty amazing. But that is it for today, guys. If you did enjoy the video or learn anything at all, guys, I'm going to ask you to do one thing. Smash that like button. If you'd like to join us for more videos, all you have to do is hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to click the notify bell, and we will see you guys in the next one. Take care, guys.